Vigil, Ante, and the Vigilante Antics by BelleAmant. Read by Oakshadow 5. Chapter 12. Lost, Found, and Lost Again. Katsuki Bakugo was 4 years old when he got his quirk. It came in not with a bang, but rather a soft hissing, a whisper of power to come. Smoke rose from the young blonde's hands, and his red eyes could only watch on in wonder as his sweat began to steam. And then it started to pop, pop, pop. They were like tiny fireworks, lighting up in celebration. Celebration for Katsuki, the first of his class to get his quirk. "Oh, wow!" Izuku cried out, eyes wide. "Your quirk is so cool! It's like mini explosions!" Katsuki grinned at that. Explosions, huh? He liked the sound of that. "He's going to make for a fine hero," the daycare lady said as the class watched on. And that's when Katsuki knew he was destined for greatness. "Now you just have to get your quirk right, Izu?" Katsuki asked. "I mean, it'll never be as good as mine, but you can't be my sidekick without one." "I'll get mine soon, Kachan," Izuku promised. He was wrong. He was quirkless. Izuku was quirkless. He lied to Katsuki. He broke his promise. How could there be a hero duo if Izuku couldn't do anything in a battle? He'd be a sitting duck, just useless. Just a useless Deku. Katsuki couldn't stand him. Couldn't stand Deku. A liar. Deku was nothing but a worthless, useless liar who could never be a hero. But Deku never fucking got it. Deku thought everything was the same as usual. No, he thought he was better than ever. He still promised to be a hero. Still liked Katsuki every single day. It pissed Katsuki off. Because no one could be a hero if they didn't have a quirk. It didn't work like that. Who did Deku think he was? To think he could be a hero when no one like him could? Did he think he was better? That he could defy the rules of life? He thought he was better. He thought he was better than everyone. He thought he could be a hero. Be a better hero than Katsuki. The green-haired idiot followed Katsuki everywhere. Always talking about how great Katsuki's quirk was. It was like the freak was saying, "Look at you, you need a quirk to be great." It riled the blonde up. "Think my quirk is so great?" Katsuki would think, eye twitching. "Show him how great my quirk is." It was almost calming, landing a hit on Deku with his quirk. That'll show him. But it didn't. Deku kept following him around. The quirkless, prideful brat constantly taunting him, trying to be the top dog, the leader. "I came up with a cool superpower that you could do," Deku said, shoving his nose where it didn't belong. Katsuki hated it. He hated how Deku tried to control him, tried to boss him around over his own quirk. God, Katsuki couldn't do anything without the stupid brat trying to show how he was superior. "Do you need help?" Deku would mock him, hand held out to pull him up like he was too weak to help himself. "That was a large fall. It looked painful." Katsuki wished Deku would disappear sometimes. But then he did. It didn't make sense. One day, Deku was everywhere. At daycare, at the park, in the forest. He couldn't have a minute of his own without the brat behind him. And then the next day, Deku was nowhere. He didn't ask, not at first. He refused to admit that he was unsettled, that the lack of egotistical Deku bothered him. He lasted a week, and then he asked. "Where's Deku?" Katsuki asked his mom, and she froze. "What do you mean?" the old hag asked, and Katsuki growled. "I mean," he climbed onto the chair, forcing his mom to lock eyes with him. "Where did Deku go? He's been gone a week." He didn't expect his mom to cry. She never cried. It just wasn't like her. Wasn't like either of them to cry. Maybe that's why Katsuki started crying too. Years passed. Fucking years passed. And there was nothing. No sign of the brunette. No proof that he'd ever existed. Even the apartment that he used to live in had disappeared. At first, Katsuki wondered if it was an imaginary friend situation. He wondered if Deku was just that, something his mind had created before his quirk. That would explain why it was so clearly adamant on controlling him, why it seemed to want to hold him back. It didn't want to disappear. But then, finally, he sees Deku again. He's 13 years old. He is 13 years old, just going on his way. He's out on a walk, pissed off over who even knows what. Probably some shitty extra that he'd seen from school. But at this point, he's just vaguely annoyed with the world and ready to trade blows with whoever he sees next for the sake of blowing off some steam. His anger only increases when some stupid extra gets in his way. Huffing, Katsuki shoves his way past the purple-haired idiot, knocking into him as he passes. His rage only grows further when he hears the idiot's friend beginning to mutter. "Some people have no manners," the friend says, and Katsuki freezes in his tracks. "Guess I found my new punching bag," Katsuki thinks as he turns around, glaring at the pair. The purple one just blinks at him, as if unfazed by his glare, or maybe just too tired to realize what's happening. The other one, the brunette, openly glares right back at him. "What did you say?" Katsuki asks through clenched teeth, and the boy has the nerve to smile. "I said, some people have no manners. You knocked into my friend and didn't even try to apologize." Katsuki feels his hands clench, feels ready to light up the sweat on his palms and teach the shitty extra before him a lesson. But then the purple one speaks. "It's fine, Izuku," he says calmly, as if the words don't freeze Katsuki in his place. "There's no way it's him," Katsuki tells himself. He probably just didn't notice. The purple one continues on, oblivious. "The stupid brat has been gone for years. He couldn't have been so close this whole time. Let's just head back." Back? Katsuki stares at the two as they start moving again, and then he's reaching after them, grabbing onto the green one's, onto Izuku's, shirt. Izuku doesn't fall. No, instead he merely whirls around, hands starting to clench into fists of his own. When did he change? When did he start responding like that? Katsuki thinks briefly, but he doesn't have time to ponder his questions. "What do you want?" Izuku but spits the words out, and Katsuki can't help but stare. It takes a few tries for the words to come out. "Yo, Izuku?" he asks, and it's dumb, but he has to be sure that it's him. "Yeah, what of it?" His green eyes spark, and there it is. This is him. This is really him. "Deku?" Finally believing it, Katsuki feels a second round of shock rushing through him. But nothing is more shocking than Deku's bitter response. "Bakugo?" "What? Bakugo?" he asks, his own last name flying out of his mouth. "What happened to that Kachan shit?" He shakes his head. That doesn't matter. "Forget that. What happened to you? One day you're following me around, pissing me off, and the next you're just fucking gone? Where the hell did you disappear to?" When Deku's fists clench further, and the boy's glare only seems to worsen, Katsuki feels his heart stop. "My motherfucking died, you insensitive prick!" Deku spits out the words, and Katsuki can feel himself recoiling, trying to avoid the acidic tone. "That's why it disappeared! My mom was gone, my father's been gone! Where the hell do you think I'd go?" "But that means... you're an orphan?" "What's it to you?" Deku snarls out, then turns around abruptly. "I have to go." And just like that, Deku disappears as quickly as he did last time. And just like that, Katsuki had an answer for why Deku disappeared the first time. And just like that, Katsuki is racing home, because he needs answers. It takes a few days for anything to get done, but a few days feels like a lifetime for Katsuki. He's impatient, he knows it, but it doesn't matter right now. Right now, all Katsuki cares about is getting to the bottom of what happened, and maybe getting a shitty nerd back into his life. "Are you ready or not?" His mother calls out, the sound muffled through his door. "I'm coming, you old hag!" Katsuki shouts back. "Just give me a damn minute!" "Don't talk to me like that, you ungrateful brat!" she shouts. "Fuck off!" he responds, slamming the door open. "Let's just go already!" "About time!" she comes back, and then the mother-son duo are making their way down the street. She's silent for once, and that allows Katsuki to fall back into his own thoughts. There's too damn many of them swirling around in his head as it is. The past few days, a whirlwind of revelations. It all started the moment he got back from a sudden confrontation. "Hey, anyone home?" Katsuki had shouted the moment he stepped inside, and was greeted with a similar shout. "I'm making dinner," his mother yelled. "What took you so long? You said you'd be back earlier." "I ran into someone." Katsuki kicked his shoes off, letting one hit the wall for good measure. "Don't kick your shoes around," she chided, then asked, "Who'd you see?" Katsuki waited until he was in the kitchen, face to face with his mom, before stating, "I ran into Deku." She froze. You... what? It's uncanny how quiet her voice became. For some reason, that only pissed Katsuki off, riling him up. I ran into Deku, you know, Izuku Midoriya, Mr. I disappeared when I was 4. That ring any bells? I didn't know he was still around, his mom said slowly, and Katsuki dropped into a seat with a huff. Neither did I. You guys never told me shit about what happened, remember? The words came out caught in bitterness, but Katsuki was bitter. We didn't want to upset you. Her words shook, and so did she. You were so young. Truthfully, we thought he might have... Katsuki scowled. He didn't. He's still kicking, even if Auntie isn't. Don't say it like that, his mom shouted, glaring at him. You know better than to talk about the dead like that. Katsuki looked down at the table, unable to meet her eyes. The room went silent. And then he shattered the silence, unwilling to keep his mouth shut. So, what do we do about Deku, huh? What do you mean, Brad? She returned her attention to cooking, probably trying to hide her tears. Katsuki wouldn't pray about that. I mean, he's an orphan. He's been an orphan this whole time, probably stuck in some shitty orphanage. His stupid friend probably is too. But it's been nearly a decade, his mother said, aghast. They couldn't have been there for so long. Katsuki scowled. Hey, all I know is Deku told me bluntly, my mom was gone, my father's been gone, where the hell do you think I'd go? And didn't deny being an orphan. Stupid nerd is probably still there. Well, his mother started, voice cracking. Maybe we can change that. It's been a few days since, and the decision is still mind-numbing. His mom, heck, both of his parents, hopped onto the idea of adopting Deku. And his friend, too. We always did say having another kid wouldn't have been a bad idea, his father said, trying to joke. There's room for 2 more, and I doubt Izuku will want to be separated, if they're as close as you make them seem. He can't believe it. For 9 years, Katsuki thought Deku had gone and disappeared. Now he might become Katsuki's sibling. What the fuck? He knows there's more to his parents' decision. They'd never jump to adopt any other kid. But maybe Deku wasn't just some other kid. He was Inko's kid. He wouldn't be surprised if they'd promised Inko to take care of Izuku, should anything happen to her. He wouldn't be surprised if they feel guilty for not doing more, for not searching for him. And he has no doubt that they never searched, because finding him is so damn easy. It took his mother 1 phone call. There's only 1 orphanage nearby, his father stated the next day. It's located right here in Muzutafu, and it's not too far of a walk from here. Maybe you should call their number, see if the boys are still there. And apparently they were. Hi? His mother spoke hesitantly, and yet from the way she clutched the phone, Katsuki could see a determined resolve. Is this Muzutafu's home for lonely children? A pause. It is? Great. More silence. You see, I was looking to adopt. No, I have 2 kids in mind already. Names? I only know one of the names. The other is a friend of theirs, though. The one is Izuku Midoriya, and the other has blue hair. Purple hair? Katsuki hissed, and his mother quickly corrected herself. Sorry, it's purple hair. Do you know if they're still available for adoption? His mother asked, and then she started pacing around the kitchen, waiting for a response. And then she stilled. Really? That's great. Do you mind if I schedule a visit? 2 days from now works, yes? Yes, okay, thank you. Goodbye. She hung up the phone. So? Katsuki asked, and his mother smiled, lips wavering in the motion, but still there nonetheless. They're there. We're gonna give them a home. Katsuki wasn't sure how to feel. He still doesn't, he supposes. But it's fine. It'll all work out. They get there. Deku will probably cry when he realizes that he's going home, and then it'll all work out. It won't be normal, but it hasn't really been normal without Deku by his side either. He steps into the orphanage without hesitating, eyes scanning the area. It's nothing to be impressed with, that's for damn sure. He barely even has to glance at the lady at the front desk to know that she's exhausted from overwork. There's kids running around like maniacs, which, fine, whatever, but the worker doesn't even seem to notice, too busy trying to stay awake. And why are there so many kids? Katsuki hasn't even seen a second worker yet, but he's already seen over a dozen kids. And they are young. And don't the younger kids get adopted faster? He doesn't want to know how many kids live here, or how few workers are employed in this overcrowded building. But that's none of his concern, and it never was. No, Katsuki is here for one thing. Oi, Katsuki says, marching up to the front counter. "We called a few days ago, asking about some people who live here." The lady blinks in surprise, then stands up straight. A joyful smile breaks out on her face as she asks, "You two must be the Bakugos then?" His mother nods, stepping closer. "Yes, my husband would have come, but he was busy with work." "Oh, that's no problem. Let's see, I know I have a note around here. Aha!" Brandishing a note, the woman says, "I'll go grab them. Would you like to meet them out here, or should we move to a quieter room?" "It doesn't fucking matter!" Katsuki snaps as his mother says, "Either option is fine." The lady blinks, then giggles. "Alright, I'll just bring them here." Then she disappears, leaving Katsuki and his mother alone. "I can't believe he's been so close this whole time," his mom says after a moment. I should have tried looking. The poor kid, he's been all alone for so long." Katsuki huffs, glaring at a blank wall. "Whatever, it doesn't matter. You're doing something now, so he better be damn grateful." Besides, Katsuki thinks, he sure wasn't alone with the purple actor by his side. They sure seem close. His thoughts don't progress from there as he hears 3 pairs of footsteps approaching. Unconsciously he stiffens, even as he tries to appear nonchalant. After all, this isn't really something special, right? It's just Deku. Just returning an old nuisance back into his life after a long time without him. Yeah. Katsuki steels himself, turning his head to lock eyes with Deku as the employee says, "Here they are." But he doesn't find Deku's eyes. He doesn't find Deku at all. No, instead he looks down, eyes settling on a boy with purple hair who can't be any older than 8. And the other? The other is a green-haired, 5-year-old girl. "The hell?" Katsuki asks before he can stop himself, and the kids blink up at him with confusion. "Who are you?" the boy asks. "Hata-san said that you wanted to see us?" "I'm sorry," his mother starts, trying to stay polite. "Who are these two?" "This is Soma Hirano," the lady, Mrs. Hata or whatever, points to the boy. "And her name is Izumi Miyazaki." "No, I'm sorry," his mother repeats, and the children take that as a sign to run off. "I had asked for Izuku Midoriya. You see, he's my son's old friend. And I just found out he's an orphan, which means he's living here because I saw him in the city yesterday and there's nowhere else nearby." Katsuki growls out, impatient. "And if he's not here, he must be in foster care, correct? Which would only be possible if you've seen him here first." His mother cuts back in. But Mrs. Hata frowns, confused. "I don't recall any Izuku Midoriya," she admits. "The name seems familiar, but I don't think we've had them here. And we haven't had any foster parents come by in so long. They always ask for young kids when they do come by." Katsuki opens his mouth, ready to shout something. Anything. Because what does she mean she doesn't remember Deku? Luckily for Mrs. Hata, he doesn't get the chance. "Hold on, did you guys say Izuku?" A new voice cuts in, and Katsuki whirls around. It's a second worker. And God, he looks even more exhausted than Mrs. Hata. "Yes," his mother says, eyes brightening. "We're looking for Izuku Midoriya and his friend. The friend has purple hair, and both should be around Katsuki's age. Teenagers." The man frowns, humming. Izuku Midori. "Oh," the man snaps. "I know." "You do?" Mrs. Hata asks. "Are you sure? I try to keep track of every kid. I swear I'd remember them if we ever had them." "They were here for a while, I think," the man admits. "I've only worked here for like a year, but they were there. Stuck to themselves, they were usually gone most of the day." "Well, where are they right now?" Katsuki asks, eye twitching. "Here, let me check the files." The man does so, moving to a filing cabinet and flipping through a giant stack of papers before humming. "Oh, that's odd." "What is it?" his mother asks. "Their files aren't in here." "Then, does that mean they've been adopted?" His mom tries, and the man just shrugs. "Guess so." But then he frowns. "Wait, just a second." He turns around, moving to a different cabinet. The sound of shuffling papers fills the air for a moment before the man pauses. "Or not." "What? What do you mean, or not?" Katsuki asks, leaning over the counter and into the man's face. He can feel his palms itching, ready to explode. "Well, here in our building, we always keep copies of the adoption forms. It's a precaution, in case we need records if something goes wrong. There's no file on Izuku Midoriya." "What does that mean?" his mother asks, her left eye beginning to twitch. It means they're just gone, or they never were here after all. Katsuki growls, slamming his hands on the counter. Izuku Midoriya. He had stupid curly hair, bright green eyes, pretty plain looking. He hung around some insomniac-looking purple-haired kid his age. Was he here or not? From the man's frown, he knows that Deku was. He was, the man sighs. But now he isn't. Hasn't been for a while, maybe. I'm not sure. He says again, looking up to them with eyes that seem more tight than before. Like I've said, I've worked here maybe a year by now. I see dozens, no, hundreds of kids every single day. They all keep routines, I think, even if there's some variance. Those two, their routine left them gone most of the day. I only ever saw them when they were eating a meal. After that, nothing. I guess it was only a matter of time before they slipped away for good. What? Mrs. Hata is the one to ask that, looking confused by all of the changes going around her. So you think we had two kids here that just disappeared? Took their files and ran off? The man nods slowly. It wouldn't be the first time kids have run off, admittedly. He shakes his head, shoulders slumping. Although we usually notice. How can you not notice two teenage boys running off? His mother asks, and Mrs. Hata flinches. Good. Well, usually another kid brings up the disappearance, and there's only a few exits here. One by the kitchen, but they're stuck up at night, so kids can't sneak around and waste food. There's an emergency exit, but that triggers an alarm. And the last way out is our entrance right here. He gestures to the door behind them, adding, but we always keep a worker at the front desk, so nobody can take the files. So you mean someone was right here? His mom stresses the words. So they couldn't just take the files and go. Someone had to give them the files. But none of our workers would do that, Mrs. Hata proclaims. None of the children are allowed to take their files, and every worker knows that they can't hold the information so carelessly. Well, that explains how this happened, Katsuki shouts. Don't you have a goddamn camera to show what happened or something? The male perks up. You're right, we do have a camera, but it doesn't have sound. Here, let's check it out. The man rushes off, returning quickly with a crappy-looking laptop. He boots it up, typing in a password before opening up the footage. It's crowded, 4 people standing around the tiny device, but Katsuki holds his tongue as he watches the grainy footage rewind quickly, going back in time as days pass, and then weeks, until... Stop! Katsuki growls out as the screen reads, July 1st, in the top right corner. A familiar head of messy green hair pops into view, wandering up to the desk. The stupid purple-haired one follows. Even with the shockingly poor quality of the video, Katsuki can tell that it's Deku who walks up to the counter, up to Mrs. Hata, who watches the screen in growing confusion, and then he seems to speak. The three converse for a moment, and everything seems normal. And then Mrs. Hata hands over their files, and they disappear. The footage stops, and 3 pairs of eyes turn to glare at Mrs. Hata. You gave them the papers, the male says, voice cold. But Mrs. Hata just shakes her head slowly, eyes wide. I don't even remember that. How could I? It's right on the camera. How can you not remember this? Katsuki shouts, but Mrs. Hata just keeps shaking her head, mumbling, I don't remember, over and over. The other employee looks at them with a somber smile as he says, It seems we have our answer. We'll take this to the police to report it, but I don't know what they'll do. Shouldn't this be a missing child case? His mom asks, tone sharp. They're gone, after all. We don't have the audio to know what was said. The boys may have been adopted and we're just picking up their papers for the new parents. We don't know. He doesn't even seem to believe the words as he says them. And you've seen them. They're clearly not missing. They're just not here. Nevertheless, we'll see what we can do. I'm sorry that your time was wasted. Don't apologize for my time. Apologize for letting this happen in the first place. His mother growls out. And then she's marching off, leaving Katsuki to follow blindly. He was here, Katsuki thinks as he walks away from the orphanage. A month ago, he was right here. He was adopted. Katsuki tries telling himself. Like the guy said, he was adopted and he just needed his files. But then why wouldn't that dumb lady remember? Why would she be so confused by her own lack of memories? It doesn't add up, and that pisses Katsuki off. And maybe, just maybe, it also scares the bond too. Deku, where the hell did you go? He doesn't know if he'll ever get that answer. We got a Katsuki POV chapter, and it was so fucking long. We found out that they tried to adopt Izuku and Hitoshi, and they found out about them brainwashing Mrs. Hata and escaping. I'm so excited what will come out of that. But anyways, guys, I hope you all enjoyed chapter 12 of Vigilante and the Vigilante Antics, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!